Good morning. You know, there is this there's this concept in Christianity that you'll learn probably in your freshman year of seminary. Of course, you may have heard it from the pulpit, and it's the concept of the progressive revelation of God. Basically, what this means is that uh, God never changes, but our understanding of Him does. And over time, God reveals more and more of Himself to us. So, what we see is that the God of the Old Testament is the same as the God of the New Testament. Um, it's just that we learn considerably more about Him. Um, and I know a lot of people sit here and say, oh, well, the God of the New Testament is all forgiving, the God of the Old Testament is all wrathful. And that's just completely untrue. And in fact, we will see in the New Testament that we are only covering a single generation. Um, in the Old Testament, we have entire books that cover hundreds, if not thousands, of years. And what we see is over time, God just gets more and more frustrated with people, and finally, He just says, this is enough. You have to be punished for what you've done. So, the idea of the progressive revelation of God and how we can sit here and see how our understanding of God can be seen over time, you will probably see that the most in something such as the book of Enoch. Unfortunately, while it's supposed to take place before the time of Noah, it probably was written around 100 BC. Um, and so that's why, for the most part, it's not included in the Bible. Um, a book that is included in our Bible is the book of Job. The book of Job supposedly takes place around the time of Abraham. We're not exactly sure when it was written. My guess is, based on the literary style, is it was probably written around the time of Solomon. But you will probably be familiar with this here idea uh, of the book of Job. You're probably familiar with the themes of it. Um, but in it, we see that uh, Job is a man who's doing really well, and God actually brags about him to Satan, and Satan's like, "Hey, let me do some stuff to him, and he will curse you." So all of this bad stuff happens to him, and so his after a period of mourning, his friends basically come and sit with him for about a week, and basically say nothing while Job is mourning here. And just a second. So, yeah, so Job has this time of mourning, and oops, you know what? It might help if I put the coffee cup underneath this, just like okay. And so he has this. I think this is important because there is supposed to be when you lose people and stuff, there should be a time of mourning, and you don't necessarily want people to say anything to you. You just basically want them to be with you. And for a week, Job's friends do that. I think Job's friends get a lot of slack because what we see here is Job pretty much is like, "Hey, why has this stuff happened to me? I've done nothing wrong." And then his friends, people sit here and it's like, "Oh, his friends are sitting here looking for things that he's done wrong." Well, the thing is based on the theology of the time, what his friends are saying are completely correct. Um, it's God is they say God is a just God, and He punishes the wicked, and so obviously you must have done something wicked. In fact, we actually see this even a lot during Jesus' time. They sit here and ask him who has sinned, him or his parents, that this man is like this. So, we do see that in the New Testament. Um, so, Job's friends are pretty much saying the same thing to him. This is correct theology of the time. And so, gosh, I was going somewhere with this. The idea, okay, here's where I was going with this. Okay, so Job's friends, their theology is correct. And we actually see this a lot today. People will sit here and their theology may be correct, but the way they apply it is wrong. And this is what Job's friends are doing in the book of Job, is that they're misapplying good theology. Um, and if you sit here and look at the book of Job, it's like every single one of them, it's like their arguments start off and it's like, it's good, it's sound, it sounds good. Um, but then, their arguments completely fall apart. I've heard some people say that no, Job did sin. His sin was that of pride. And I would sit here and argue that as well, that that's not necessarily the case. Job is sitting here trying to defend himself against people who are just sitting here absolutely accusing him of doing wrong things. So basically, the whole takeaway of this is that there's things going on in the spiritual realm that we are not familiar with, and God has never changed. Uh, his What He reveals to us changes over time, and we have to be aware that God is holy and just, and even though we may not understand what's going on, He does. And we shouldn't be so quick to accuse or point fingers at people. And in fact, even today, we sit here and hear people say that karma's caught up with a person, or we'll sit here and judge someone when stuff bad happens to them, saying that they're finally getting their just comeuppance or something like that. And even as Christians, we tend to do that. So anyway, this was a long video today, but yeah, and it's time for coffee. Bye.